All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. We're hot off the Fantasy Football Expo, and all 32 NFL teams have reported to training camp, which means this may be the last time for us to capture some early line value out in the NFL futures betting markets. We'll focus on gaining some CLV in this episode with our top 8 long shots to place right now. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, back with Boston's boy, a man who continued to clean up on the golf course over the weekend. He's Steve Lawson. Steven, glad to be with you today, and thank you so much for carrying the team on Friday, and looking forward to being up in your neck of the woods in about a week from now for the honeymoon trip.
Yeah, no, the golf outing was a success. I was worried. As you know, I'm dealing with a bit of an injury right now. Getting my last few rounds in before they go under the knife and get some much needed fixing done. But so excited to talk these bets because there was some value out there, guys. There was some value out there. I was a little surprised at, and I'm really excited. The season's so close now. I can taste it. You know what I mean? I can almost hear the concussions.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for football to be back on my screen. I've missed it.
Yeah, things are definitely back in place as they should be. We already have Ricky Pearsall injuries happening. Just as it's all meant to play out. And I really think this is a great time to get invested with the futures market, because specifically these long shots we're going to talk about, because you have to balance out that portfolio, right? If we're going to drink some juice, if we're going to take some minus money plays, we also have to make sure that we have some long profitable numbers to get invested with. And also joining us tonight is one of our newest colleagues that we gained when joining the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. He's a veteran over there. He's Mike Lindberg, aka Grindberg. Mike, great to be on stage with you today. And it was even better to get to work alongside with you at Draft Night Out over the weekend, my friend.
Oh man, you two are dogs. I had a great time meeting you guys and working alongside you all weekend. It was a great weekend for fantasy football. It was a great weekend for FSA and IBT as the merge happened. And I'm excited to go down this road with both you guys in the future. What a great weekend we had, and looking forward to hanging out tonight and talking some bets.
Yeah, if you couldn't get enough of us for 4.5, 5 days, you got us once more, just a few days removed, folks. So appreciate you being here with us, Mike. And a quick reminder that the easiest way to support the program, now that DNO is over, no more live events for the rest of the calendar. So the easiest way to find us is right here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, Fantasy Football Advice channel. That's where, of course, the IBT podcast is. And of course, it's also where Mike shows the Fantasy Forecast, the Dynasty Pulse are, and of course, Brian's Too Much Best Ball and Tyler's From the Forum. So a lot of fun stuff happening for you still as the preseason rolls on here. So we'd appreciate you giving those shows a watch after this one, supporting the entire channel. And guys, let's go ahead and fire it up with a little bit between bets, long shot edition.
Between bets. Between bets.
It's between bets and it's long shot season, baby. We're firing up our favorite futures for these particular markets, starting with the stat leaders. And Steve and Mike, you guys came to the table with a similar number on a similar player, but two different specific categories. So Steve, what are you liking from potential bounce back from player out there in the Sin City?
Yeah, Brock Bowers. I am expecting a monster season, monster season, and he better have one, because I kind of put my whole Rainbow Bowl fate in this man's hands. Grabbed him in the 3rd round instead of another running back. I am so far in on Brock Bowers, it's not even funny. I mean, he is the only show in town, right? Like, as far as pass catchers go, it's him and then essentially blow up dolls. I mean, like, this is a bunch of bums. Like, Jags would be a really strong, you know what I mean? It would be too much to call him a Jag. Like, I don't know what's below.
Hey, we don't know about Jack Bash yet. He didn't get on the field
no,
yet.
We do. We do. We know about Jack Bash. Everyone knows about Jack Bash. Jack Bash is there as like a, I don't know, he's like a friend. You know what I mean? Like, you know when you have like a real cool group of people, and then you have like that one like really kind of like ugly friend that you kind of have to keep around just to make the rest of you look better. Like by
That's
comparison,
me. I think that is legitimately me.
that's what Jack Besh is. It's like it just brings the whole group up because he's so bad. But Brock Bowers has this opportunity where you get Kirk Cousins in there, known for getting the ball to the tight end in decent situations.
Jordan Reed back in the day in Washington.
Jordan Reed back in the day in Washington. We saw him do it in Minnesota. We've seen him do it. We've seen him do it even when he was with the Falcons. I mean, Kyle Pitts did very well.
Blow up game, yeah.
Right. I mean, it happens a lot. Kirk Cousins likes to get the ball to his tight ends. Brock Bowers also, should Mendoza, which we all expect at some point will take over the starting job. I don't expect it to be week 1. I expect Kirk Cousins to hold the job for a few weeks until the Raiders finally throw their hands up and surrender and say the season's over. Let's get the kid in there. Tight ends are a rookie's best friend. We've seen this. Stats back that up. That they want to get the ball to the tight end as much as they can. And when it comes to being in the red zone and they want to get that big body, big target, that's where they're going to look. And Brock Bowers is the best receiving tight end in the NFL as it stands right now. I don't know if there's really much of a question to it. I know Trey McBride is a great tight end, but Brock Bowers is on another level athletically, right? Like he is everything you want in a tight end and everything you want in a wide receiver, except for the fact that he's 260 pounds. You know what I mean? So like this, it just feels like this is at plus 4,000, 40-1 odds for him to lead the league in touchdowns. With the new coaching change, I just feel like, I don't know. I think Kubiak's really, really good at getting his best player the ball in advantageous situations. So give me Brock Bowers at plus 4,000, and I think I will feel pretty good about that all season.
It's interesting because you look at Bowers' rookie year, and he didn't have a ton of touchdowns based on the production he had, right? 112 receptions, nearly 1,200 yards, and only 5 touchdowns. But then last year, he's injured. His production literally cut in half pretty much all the way around, and he actually has 7 touchdowns. So if you extrapolate that out, you could maybe get to a 13 or 14 touchdown type of season there from Brock Bowers, and that was with Geno Smith and the ghost of Kenny Pickett throwing the ball to him last year. So I honestly don't hate that play. Mike, I might like yours better though, because I think you have an interesting take on Bowers and how we can also get invested with him here.
Yeah, I mean, this situation here in Las Vegas, I mean, Steven, you nailed it though. I think this could be a season for the ages for this tight end. I mean, I have him as a flag plant, as a bold take, as him, coming out here and leading the NFL in targets. I mean, he's got that high upside opportunity. He demonstrated production as a rookie, that record-setting rookie season, that second year. We know it was limited by injury. The coaching staff wasn't great. And now what do we get? We get Clint Kubiak, an anticipated improvement at quarterback, no matter who starts the gate, and not so much, competition around him for targets. I know, Steven, you mentioned a couple guys. I know, Seth, you're really high on Jack Betch. You mentioned him on our panel, actually, at the Expo as a guy that you're targeting late. So, I mean, I'm looking more into Jack Betch now. I mean, there's another guy, a couple guys that, aren't really super target earners. Jalen Naylor did it okay in Minneapolis last year when his numbers were called upon, and Trey Tucker is that field stretcher who can, enhance those, long plays. But this is going to be the Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers show for me, and for him leading the league in targets. I could see him getting upwards of 180, 190 targets as a tight end in this offense, especially if this, team comes out of the gate a little bit quicker than we're used to here. Clint Kubiak, look what he's done in the past. He's made a guy like JSN completely relevant. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and beat JSN's season. I mean, people are going to be double teaming him, targeting him, but I think they're going to scheme him up. And give me some Brock Bowers at plus 4,000 for 40-1 odds. Come on, this could happen. I mean, it's a long shot, but that's what we're talking about here. And if we're all on Brock Bowers, why not?
And what's interesting here, Mike, is 40-1. And I think, Steve, you'd agree. This is long for a guy who, as a rookie, 22 years old, in a much worse offense, worse quarterback play as well. He finished 6th in the NFL in 2024 in targets, 153 of them. 175 where Jamar Chase finished. That's not that far away, right? So I think Brock Bowers is certainly live for this play. This might have to be one I do add to the card. I really like you came to the table with this, Mike, because I've been looking at a way to get invested with Brock Bowers, my boy over there from the Betting Pros podcast, Andrew Erickson. He has him on the offensive player of the year market, I think at 80-1. I think this might be a little safer. So I actually like this play there at about half the price. So Brock Bowers, we are full send on him. I think I'm going to have to start moving up my rankings too. I've had him right around the 2-3 turn, 24, 25, right in front of Trey McBride. But as redraft season starting to get closer, after some more conversations I had over the weekend in Canton, Ohio, the birthplace of professional football, I think I'm all in on maybe one of the best tight end prospects we've seen come into this league. Boys, I'm going to stay in this particular market here with my best bet here for a stat leader. It's Bijan Robinson to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns, 18-1. And guys, like I've been the man all summer long. I've been fading the Falcons into oblivion. I have a ticket on them to be the first overall pick team a year from now in that 2027 NFL draft. Steve, we talked about that with Craze a couple weeks ago on that 2027 NFL draft preview show. We also have him down, have the Falcons down for under their win total. I'm laddering that down as far as I can go as well. So a lot of Falcons regression here I'm expecting, especially, we sit here in training camp. Tua is already hurt. Michael Penix Jr. is not ready to go either. But and maybe the offense is a concern overall, but Bijan Robinson at 18-1, this is too long of a number for a player who just finished 6th in rushing touchdowns back in 2024. He had 14. That was with Tyler Algier vulturing 3 of those touchdowns. Then last year, Bijan, Algier, they combined for 15 rushing touchdowns. That would have been the 3rd best in the league. And Algier's gone at this point. He's in Arizona. We do have gunshot B-Rob in this backfield as well, but I think at this point in his career, I think we can all say Brian Robinson he's a jag, right? That's a better use of a word, jag. I think he's at least proved he's a guy.
My just rivalry with Brian Robinson at this point. I despise that man. Him and Ron Rivera ruined my life. So I'll never forgive that man.
I know, but he is definitely a jag. And we know whether it was Nick Chubb or Quinshaw Judkins that Kevin Stefanski isn't afraid to feed his running back one. I mean, last year I thought Dylan Sampson actually had a shot to be fantasy relevant after a huge week 1 performance. Quinshaw Judkins comes back after no preseason at all, no offseason workouts, and he's immediately getting fed. So for me, I just think I want to be invested in a player on an offense where you have a shorter quarterback in Tua and you get to the goal line. Tua's a huge liability, man. He cannot see over his offensive lineman. Just ask Mike McDaniel, who a couple years ago had to feed Raheem Mostert a league high 18 times back in 2024. So yeah, I think I'm all in here on Bijan Robinson to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns. What do you think, Steve? I'm usually not the Bijan guy either, but I think I'm firing him up here.
I don't hate it, right? I think there's some things working against him, right? Number one is quarterback play. That
just the offense. Yeah, I can get that.
The offense is going to be really weird, especially because, I don't know. It just feels weird with the Falcons because they have so many good skill position players, and then they seem to have forgotten to get a quarterback, and I'm not sure why. I know I tend to have questionable takes. I usually think they're pretty good. Why the Falcons didn't go after Justin Fields instead of Tua Tagovailoa will remain a mystery to me until I'm dead. I don't understand what their thought process was. But they needed it. They needed someone who could move. This offensive line is not good enough for Tua to survive. And Michael Penix is one hard sneeze away from being out for the season at any point. So, this is going to be a problem. This could be a real problem because I don't know who the 3rd quarterback is.
It's an undrafted free agent they had firing up today. I can't even remember his name, but I'll get that information.
Shocking that you can't because you love those kind of guys.
I know. I'm all in on the Haynes Kings. It's not Haynes King, I can tell you that. Steve, I'll get you that name. And Mike, I will get your opinion on this bet too. But first, Steve, I want you to lay out the different direction you're going for a running back to lead the league in rushing yards rather than rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, it's the guy who got the big offseason contract, right? Kenneth Walker III. We see it all the time. Running backs come in. Now, he signed a multi-year deal, but we know how these are structured, right? They're structured to be shorter. They're not, He's not meant to be, they want to run him to death. That's what's going to happen in Kansas City. Mahomes got cleared, right? He's cleared he's cleared to come back and practice. It looks like he's trending toward a week 1 start. That is only helping Kenneth Walker, right? Now, the Chiefs, the one thing that you know about them is that they are that currently or recently have been that quick hitting team. Rashee Rice is like balls out of Mahomes' hands quick. They're going to keep doing that, I think, as they're trying to get Mahomes more comfortable, healthier, make sure he doesn't get hurt again, right? But another way that they're going to keep Mahomes upright and away from the injuries is the running game. They had no running game last year, and it cost them their franchise guy. You cannot have that happen. I expect Kenneth Walker to see 300 carries this year, legitimately. Like maybe 350 if things go the way. You know what I mean? It's going to be a monster level of carries. And I think it's going to be because they paid him a big contract. This is it, right? Like this is the big contract that Kenneth Walker really wanted. We saw what he can do in the Super Bowl MVP, monster game. This outside run that he loves to do is really a strength of Bieniemy's system. There is a lot working in his favor. With Travis Kelce getting older, more subs are coming in on that tight end position. It's going to be a lot more 12 personnel, I think. And it's going to be a lot less of reliance on Patrick Mahomes, who, again, I know this is something that people don't want to hear or acknowledge, but Patrick Mahomes, there's a world where we've already seen his peak because he has not been Patrick Mahomes.
You don't think it's like the Patriots dynasty where you see the second coming?
No, because Tom Brady was ascending that whole time. Tom Brady during the first part of that dynasty, that first 3 peaks, was not Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He was figuring it out, right? He was playing like, not like a 6th round pick, but he was playing like a guy who wasn't meant to be, he was figuring it out. And then we saw the ascension. We saw him get to that undefeated season. And then of course, like the Super Bowl happens and that holding call that didn't get called. And then that stupid catch. And what we've seen from Mahomes is this immediate meteoric rise. And it's been pretty disappointing the last 2-3 years in terms of like what we were used to.
Production
wise, there is a question as to how much Tyreek Hill had to do with Patrick Mahomes. I will say that.
Yemine's back. They had Matt Nagy there for 2 years, and that completely catapulted that team. Not to mention they didn't have a run game for a couple of years. You give them a decent run game again, and then the play action is there for them. They didn't have any deep threats. Look at what they're doing now. Cyrus Allen is coming in. They're adding a couple guys here and there. They were relying on a lot of, last year Travis Kelce, banged up, Rashee Rice.
Tyquan Thornton, that's what they had deep down.
Yeah, I mean, now Xavier Worthy's got his 3rd year here. I can expect a little bit more target share for him. Rashee Rice, I'm all in on this year even though he's got
no reason not to be.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like what else did they got? And now Kenneth Walker, I love this call here. I think that this is an opportunity for him. Look what he did last year. I mean, he led all running backs in a 91.5 rushing grade. He had 86 missed tackles on 300 carries. He racked up 970 yards after contact. Like that's monster stuff here.
And he's a physical freak, right? I mean, he's big, he's strong, and he's a blur out there. I mean, he can burn.
Plus he was splitting the backfield and the red zone last year. It was like, just think of now he's going to have the lion's share in a higher tempo offense, in my opinion. So this could be a really good situation. Yeah, this is a smash play, and I'm really in on Mahomes too this year. So I think that this could be the ascension of my Chiefs back. Oh yeah, I'm big time on this Chiefs team. They could be certainly surprising people here again.
So can I tell you why I'm worried about Mahomes? And this is like the scouting report I came into the league on him with. He can't throw to his left. It's a really weird thing. He's really bad at throwing to the left half of the field.
It's because you're a Patriots guy and you don't
want anybody not. I swear I'm not.
Don't worry. You and Biggs can hang out together. He's a Raiders guy. He hates Mahomes too. So we're good. I
don't worry about Patrick Mahomes because, Tom Brady took care of that. But, I'm not a big Patriots guy. I'm actually a fantasy. I root for my fantasy team. As Seth knows, I'm a mercenary for hire. I mean, I'll root for whoever I have to get me that win. It's just a weird scouting thing that, he really, really left the left hash and out. He has a weird, It's like
That's where you see all those jump throws
game.
and the sidearms and the blind throws a lot of times is on that side of the field.
But like when he stops and plants and like just gets a clean throw off, it's really weird that he doesn't like to throw that spot. Like it's a very weird tick with him, and I don't know what it is, and it's just been something I've noticed for years.
I'll have to look into that.
Well, something that hopefully will not deter your Kenneth Walker ticket for coming to fruition, Steve. So I like the play there on Kenneth Walker. He's someone who's certainly gotten a lot of buzz over the last couple of weeks. He's continued to rise in ADP, and I'm sure this is one that when we get to the NFL season, and if he does come out and have a big game potentially as early as week 1 against Denver, this might not be available then. And on that quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, I got to give a shout out to my boy Thor Nystrom. He actually tried to put me and Derek Brown on Jack Strand. This is a guy who played at the FCS level for Moorhead State, or Minnesota State Moorhead, excuse me. But this was a guy that Thor came on, kind of touting up a little bit to us. He really liked him. I think he was super high in his quarterback rankings. So he is now, as it stands, the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, Jack Strand. The more you know.
Unbelievable.
And before we keep moving, just a quick reminder that if you guys want to continue to support the program, not only here on the FSAN Fantasy Football YouTube, but you can also do so in audio form as well. We're continuing to grow over there. We appreciate all the support so much. If you guys can subscribe over there, whether you're using Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, whatever you're using, we're on those platforms. We could really appreciate your support. And if you are a regular listener over there, give us a review, give us 5 stars, tell us what you like about the show, what we can do better. We want to hear from you, and we want to continue to gain your following over there on the audio platforms as well. We'd really appreciate that. Just search the In Between Fantasy Football podcast wherever you find your audio products, and we'll come right up there. Mike, I want to get to you as we shift into the award market. And we've talked in the past on this show about some NFL MVP candidates. A lot of them, though, at shorter odds, where you're buying that potentially a late breakout last season from a quarterback will continue on into 2026.
Yeah, I'm going with Trevor Lawrence winning the MVP at 22-1. I think, like you mentioned there, Seth, like what he did at the end of last year was just incredible. The last 5 games, that stretch, he played lights out, QB2 finish in those games, and just look at what the Jags have done around him. His environmental is just great. Like, once they brought in Jacoby Myers, it kind of solidified their slot situation. And now what you look at here, sorry, what was that, Seth?
Oh, so no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, I mean, as soon as Jacoby Myers came in, I think he was kind of like the skeleton key for that offense. And not saying this 30-year-old wide receiver is going to be there as a focal point this year. I think this is going to be the Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr. show for the most part. But you look at what Jacoby Myers can do, and it kind of just helped that middle of the game. It was a safety blanket. And what did they do in the offseason here? They brought in a couple big tight ends. What is that going to allow them to do? Is just replace anybody now. They've got the depth, and I think they're going to be a solid powerhouse no matter where you go. Somebody gets injured, they got somebody to come in and replace them.
Yep.
So what does that mean? That means great things for who? Trevor Lawrence. And I'm all in on Trevor Lawrence this year. I think he's going to surprise. He's going to outscore his ADP. So these are the guys that I'm looking for when I'm placing these bets, is like, who are the guys I'm in on in fantasy football, and how will that translate on the betting line? And I just see his mobility. It was in full strength last year, and it just creates another opportunity for them to score in the red zone. And if he can continue that pace, look at what he did. I think the odds could be there. That volume, the efficiency, the foundation, let alone the upgrades to his weapons, and another year in that Liam Cohen offense. And we know he's a really good play caller. So give me some Trevor Lawrence on a bet here. I mean, these are ones that we take on a whim. And look at this. I mean, 22-1 odds. I got him, as a top 5 finisher down the stretch last year.
Yeah.
I got him as a top 10 quarterback. So I'm going to place a bet here and see what I can do with some Trevor Lawrence in 2026.
I love it.
This is such an interesting play, Mike, because one, you do have exactly what you said, depth on this team, where if Parker Washington, BTJ, or Jacoby Myers miss time, well, you got the number 2 overall pick from a year ago, Travis Hunter, ready to burst onto the scene. And at the same time, like we've seen it, Steve, with these quarterbacks in Liam Cohen's offense, like what did Baker Mayfield do a couple of years ago? Have one of the highest touchdown rates in the league and then regress last year. There might be some legitimateness to Trevor Lawrence here in the breakout we saw last year. And he was even lower than 22-1 when things finished up. I think he finished 5th in the MVP voting, or pretty high up there, where you couldn't find a 22-1 ticket. And that was with Drake May and Matthew Stafford kind of running away with things last year.
Yeah, no, I love this call because one thing we know about the quarterback position is a fascinating little position because it's a lot of it is mental, right? And we see these guys when they lose confidence, they can fall apart. But when they gain confidence, that's where stars are made, right? Like we've seen guys like Baker Mayfield even lose his confidence, get shipped out of Cleveland. He doesn't do shot, boom, like great burst onto the scene. We saw what Trevor Lawrence did at the end of last year, but more than that, we saw the changes that Mike was talking about. One major change that I think lends itself to this being more likely is that Travis Etienne is now a New Orleans Saint, which means Bashal Tutin is the lead running back down there in Jacksonville. And I don't know about you. I don't trust him to be a true RB1, which means I think, and you know what? And you notice it when you look at the numbers. Canales, who came before Cohen in Tampa, was a bit more of a runner than Cohen was. Cohen was a much more air raid kind of caller. He likes to go to the air a lot, which is not to say that he wasn't good with the run game. He was able to get Bucky Irving to do very well. But I think when it came down to it, his comfort is to call passes and move the sticks and score through the air. And by putting the ball in his, so to speak, best player's hands as much as possible. And that is Trevor Lawrence in this situation. I think Mike's also right. I think it's going to be, I think it's the Parker Washington show this year. I think that's going to be a monster play along with Brenton Strange. I am very in on him this year as well. The Jaguars may be that kind of team that you want to throw a couple little bets on, I think, down the road here. Maybe a sneaky Super Bowl Super Bowl pick. Who knows?
Yeah, they are certainly getting the buzz. I just hope it's not one of those like disappointing second seasons with a head coach, because sometimes we see these first year guys, and we saw it last year in Washington with Jane Daniels, kind of take a step back. Part of that was injuries. Part of that was just, incompetence all the way around, building maybe more through the veteran, free agency cycle rather than the draft, as we saw. But either way, Mike, love this pick from you. Maybe my favorite bet. You've had a couple so far tonight that have been absolute gainers.
Oh, he's throwing 105 right now.
Beginner's luck, I guess.
We got a couple more coming in the offensive rookie of the year market. I got two I'm going to hit you with. Both at the same number here. I got Elijah Sarratt to win offensive rookie of the year, plus 92.45, just over 92-1 right now at Kalshi, and also Eli Stowers, just over 92-1 as well. These were found early. They're still around 60-1 right now. They've been bet down at Kalshi, but keep an eye on Poly Market, some of those other prediction markets. And I had a great conversation on a panel that sometimes in sports betting, like, we're not just trying to predict winners. We're trying to predict are the books wrong? Where is the discrepancy? And where's the value, right? Because do I actually believe that Eli Stowers or Elijah Sarratt will win this award? I'm not sure. But at the same time, I know there could be potential cash out opportunity for two players I expect to get off to hot starts, and the books are not taking into account as much. Like, look at Elijah Sarratt. I know he fell to the 4th round, but arguably one of the most pro-ready wide receivers in this class. Very, very capable run blocker. That should get him on the field early with a great quarterback in Lamar Jackson, or at least what people tell me is a great quarterback in Lamar Jackson. But still a player here in Sarratt led the country in receiving touchdowns a year ago, despite missing some time middle of the season. Scored in 10 of 13 games a year ago with Fernando Mendoza at quarterback with 4 multi-score games. So I think he's going to get on the field early. I think he's going to eventually push Rashad Bateman out of this flanker role. I think he's more ready to go from day one than Jacoby Lane as well. And Stowers, dude, like, this guy's a freak. This guy's a freak, and people aren't talking about it. Like, I understand that Kenyon Sadiq was drafted ahead of him. I know Stowers fell to the 2nd round, but that's more because of his blocking and more because of his body type, right?
Because look at how happy he doesn't look mean enough. Look how happy he is in that picture.
He
Hey,
was my tight end one in this class.
thank
So
you.
yeah,
Thank you. Okay. And I've been on that same train, Mike, because this is a guy who set positional records for both the vert and the broad jump. And even before that, he was the best tight end in the country. And he's the guy you want for betting and for fantasy, right? Because he is the one who's going to go out there and have higher production. Sadiq's a great player, but Sadiq's also a hell of a blocker compared to Stowers, who's a little bit of a tweener, right? I want to say, Sadiq's a great blocker, but definitely better than Stowers. And the thing you got to realize here in this Eagles offense, AJ Brown is gone. New offensive coordinator Sean Mannion. He loves 12-man personnel. He loves getting his quarterback out there on play action, boot scooting, boogieing around. So I think Stowers really offers something in his offense that no other pass catcher does with his physical play. That's not that is not Devonta Smith's game. That is not Lemon's game. And honestly, we're at the point now with Dallas Goedert, like he is just who he is, right? He's above a replacement style player, but he's still not amazing. So I just think both these numbers are way too long. I still like him at 60-1 that's out there right now. Shop those around, see if you can get a boost for it too. But Eli Stowers, Elijah Sarratt, that's where I'm heading in the offensive rookie of the year market. Mike, I would love to hear your thoughts on that and also where you're going in this particular market.
I like that call. I like both those calls, honestly, as like those are complete crazy long shots here, Seth. But when you think about it, I was both high on both these guys as well in the process. So
Yeah.
maybe we like to, scout our guys in a similar fashion. I just liked his polished route running. He's got I'm talking about Sarratt here, exceptional body control, crisp route running, and those sticky hands. You mentioned the touchdown upside here. Exactly what Rashad Bateman hasn't been able to do is keep the ball in his hands, but also stay
Yes.
on the field. So maybe this could be the guy downfield that is the missing link for Lamar in this offense. So yeah, I like that call. Like you can't ignore that X receiver that the Ravens have been looking for how long now. It's been a while, and I know Jacoby Lane got drafted before him, but I think that was more for positional gain here. I think they wanted him for that slot role, and he was going to go before Sarratt, so because there was more bodied receivers similar to Sarratt, and I think in this draft, so I think they were able to get him anyhow. So yeah, like the call, and I like the Stowers call too. You mentioned 12 personnel as well, and Philly's going to be changing a little bit here. They're going to be using the middle of the field a bit more. We saw that in training camp already. We're going to hear things about their new offensive coordinator wanting to push the ball a little bit more, get that tempo up, and when you do that, yes, Dallas Goedert is an established tight end, but he's the blocker, and he's going to be able to be on the field as well. And look what happened to Harold Fannin last year, and this is a better offense than the Cleveland Browns. So I think there's opportunity, there's scoring as well. So yeah, I like the call. And for offensive rookie of the year in a class that we all know isn't super deep at this stage, anybody could pick this at this stage. So yeah, I like this. And that's kind of why I went into my range here, and I went Denzel Boston to also win the rookie of the year. And I also like Casey Concepcion, and I think that this whole situation here, both those guys, it's rare for a slot receiver to get drafted in the first round like KC did. So we obviously know he's going to be the future here. But look at what Denzel Boston has done. I was pretty high on him in the process. I didn't have him in my top 5, but I certainly do now. And I think because where Omar Cooper landed, I kind of have him now ahead of him, and I like this opportunity here. We don't know this offense, right? Obviously, the quarterback situation, the offensive scoring, but they're going to have to throw, and they're going to want eventually to see who their guys are, and they're going to want to use their big-bodied receiver that I think is going to fit perfectly in that system. That 6'4" frame, strong hands. He's got that leaping ability that led to high contested catch rates in college. Per PFF, he was I think at 84 grade, so a decent grade there. Big playability after the catch. So I think Cleveland is going to design shots for him. And, at 35-1, I think this is a play that is in factor right now. So certainly KC Concepcion is in consideration here as well, but his line is a little bit less optimistic here for me. So
yeah, earlier in the process when things opened up, I actually got KC at a 35-1. That has since been bet down. I can't find that same value. So Denzel Boston, like, do you hope it's Shedeur, Mike? That's kind of what I'm hoping, because Shedeur did show me something in those couple games. Is that how you're hoping this plays out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think I think that I'm hoping that it plays out with them needing to use the passing game in the last half of the year, and whoever the quarterback is going to just air it out. And I think they're going to be in the market of in this draft anyway to replace that. So I think I'm not sold on either of those quarterbacks, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, Steve, if you had to place one of these bets, whether it's the Boston at 35-1 or the Sarratt or Stowers up at 92-1, which one would you? I know you have right now, I think it's Antonio Williams 36-1 that you've been sitting on for most of the offseason so far.
I like Antonio Williams a lot. If I had to bet like anybody, it would probably be like Jordan Tyson. But like, of these three, I like.
Yeah, that wasn't the question. I didn't ask a D. I said A, B, or C.
I'm gonna pick. I think I like Stowers. I think I like Stowers the best.
Okay.
I like the idea that he's a move tight end in an offense that'll probably have two tight ends on the field a lot. And when you kind of get a bootleg going and you can dump it off to a guy who can then turn it into something huge, which Dallas Goedert is like, if everything goes the right way and there's like a strong breeze behind him, he can kind of get up to speed, but isn't exactly known for his wheels. Whereas Stowers is he's a pretty physical specimen here at this point. I like that the most. I have real concerns about Sarratt and Boston as prospects, as I've said on this program. I find Sarratt to struggle to separate, and Boston has the same issue. It's anyone who in college is big on contested catches is usually that's a no for me, dog, kind of deal.
Little Randy Jackson action. I appreciate that. Mike, before we let you out of here, man, thanks so much for joining us. And can you let us know what you have going on with both the Dynasty Pulse and the Fantasy Forecast over the next couple of weeks that we should be keeping our heads on swivels for?
Yeah, I mean, it is draft season here, right? We're getting right into the heart of the off season. So we're giving you all the analysis you need for your redraft, especially on the fantasy forecast. This week we got the mustache players. Next week we're going to be doing some flag planting, and for the Dynasty Pulse, we're really getting our rankings locked in here. Last week we did our wide receiver tiers. This week we're doing our tight end tier. So really giving our viewers some real analysis on our panels. Like there's 5 of us on that panel, and we're giving a consensus tier break. So we vote, and it's consensus. So they're really good shows. So yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
I totally misheard you, and I thought you said the mustache players.
I was thinking you were saying
I'm like,
I mean, somewhat. You check out the thumbnail. You never know. There might be a stash.
I was like, oh, he's ranking players who have mustaches. I'm like, what an interesting way to go about Dynasty.
No, must stash players. That's my Canadian accent you guys hear.
There you go. I love it, man. Never change it. And that's going to do it for us tonight on this episode of the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast. If you've rode along with us this long, thank you so much. Please give this video a thumbs up on your way out if you enjoyed it. Also, don't forget to subscribe both here to the Fantasy Sports Advice Network channel and the HQ channel so you don't miss any of our content across football, basketball, baseball, racing, and of course, PGA golf. Also, be sure to check out FSAN.com for some dope written content and the merch store. For Grindberg and Stephen Lawson, I'm Seth Wilcock. Thank you so much for watching, and keep it in between. Until next time, y'all.